Road.fm. Gear up. Inside Clermont with Dani Page. What's up, Nomads? Today we have a special guest. It's Miss Dani Page from Inside Clermont. Dani, aka Mama Bear, fights for what's right in her community and for the innocence of children in the face of this liberal pollution sweeping the nation. She's a conservative, a 2A supporter, and cares for her own safety. And I've heard she's a great shot, so don't test her. Warning, folks, this episode may have some explicit content, as Dani is known to go no holds barred. Enough of me rambling, though, and I'll introduce Dani after we take this quick break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and I want to introduce Miss Dani Page from Inside Clermont. Dani, how you doing this evening?
I am awesome.
Great to hear it. Now, how long have you lived in Lake County?
7 years.
7 years, great.
7 years this month.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. What made you become the kind of ambassador? Because you help our community and you help the school systems kind of stay on the right track. What gave you that fire to make that happen?
Actually, about 3 years ago, I got involved with council only because of something that they were going to be doing or trying to do was very close to my home. Had to do with a charter school being put in right on top of my home. So that's the only reason what brought me to a council meeting. And long story short, they passed the CUP, what I thought was illegally. And then I just took it into my own hands pro se and sued the city over it and won. And so after I won, actually 3 times because they tried to appeal it in district court, I just felt like, these council members do some pretty shady things, and no one films it, no one live streams it, they're not held accountable. Why don't I just start live streaming this? Because of my background in radio and television, I thought I could utilize my skills and just, move forward with doing that. And then, maybe some people don't want to watch a live stream that long. And so, again, using my skills from radio, I thought I'll just do a podcast and break down each council meeting for everybody and, about 20 minutes or less, and salt and pepper it with some humor. And
Gotcha. And it works because I've seen some of your council videos and I've heard your podcast, and you are keeping people up to date with what's not being reported on the mainstream media news, because we all know that's filtered. You're giving the raw behind the scenes, what's going on. We have a mayor that can't pronounce the city that he's mayor over, which
Clermont.
Yeah, but I've never met that gentleman, so I'm not really going to beat him up too much on the show. But there's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and we need more warriors like you. So I would say fire came from, hey, I'm not seeing anyone else do this. I'm going to jump in this ring. How do we get more people involved like that? Because you said it best. There's people running for school boards. There's people who are severe liberals, demon rats, that are running for high-level positions, and they're running unopposed, which means they're going to get it. So how do we get the fire under conservatives to say, no, wait a minute, we're going to save our county?
Well, it's kind of hard. I mean, I wish it was easy. And you probably know this better than anybody because we are conservatives. I find it kind of prevalent nowadays where conservatives, I don't want to say are lazy. I think they're scared of cancel culture. They have jobs. They have businesses. And so they don't feel compelled to stand up. I mean, they want to, but they're afraid they're going to get canceled. So while I try to help people understand what's going on behind the scenes. I try to encourage people to come out and speak up. It's really hard to get them out there. So a lot of people, and it kind of gets me a little frustrated. Of course, I'm lucky and I'm retired, but it gets me a little frustrated because I think they leave a lot of it up to me to do on their behalf. And I'm just one person. I can't do everything. Well, I can do some things, and I feel like I do a good job at what I do. I can't stand up for everybody. So like if somebody wanted to protest, and I have held protests, I can't just be out there by myself. I mean,
Right.
I could. Obviously I could, but you need at least 20 to 40 people. You need at least 40 people if you want any, big time media to come out and film it or anything. But, for those people that just want to sit down on their hands and do nothing, there's just so much I can do to get them to do something, but at least to have them, even on their own, they can vet these people. I mean, if you have a laptop and some kind of computer knowledge, you can vet these people, look them up, see what their background is. You might not be able to get out there and be on a mic in front of them at a council meeting or school board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But you can at least educate yourself and others by vetting them yourselves, or I vet them as well. And so people can tune in to me and find out that information. But they really need to go to these meetings. And I never can stress that enough on my platforms. It just seems that people aren't willing, and for the obvious reasons that I just said.
Right. And that brings me to a point. I remember you and I spoke in the past, and you mentioned a council member actually expressed fear of they didn't want BLM or Antifa to come into the meeting at some point. And how can a council member, someone that's voted into a position that look over our best interest, fear a domestic terrorist organization, if you will? That person needs to be removed.
Well, it's just, and I think that person, honestly, is like the general consensus amongst all conservatives. Like I just said, I mean, they just don't want to stir the pot, and they just think if we just kind of maybe ignore it, it'll go away. We don't want to cause a stir. And that person is actually, unfortunately, like would be the face of the general conservatives around town, and it's just,
and that's
people
sad.
just don't. Yeah. I mean, it is, but and I know we're talking about local here, but I see that with the Supreme Court as well. If you're going to look, beyond Lake County. I mean, I think even our Supreme Court didn't want to touch anything regarding the election because they didn't want an uprising from BLM or Antifa or any protesting in the streets. They just, and it's unfortunate that in a lot of levels of government, they just don't want to deal with anything negative or protests and stuff. So they just would rather be like, oh, never mind.
Just give them their way.
And I think I'm one of the few, to put it bluntly, one of the few assholes that I don't care, and I will. But then again, they say, oh, well, Dani, you're lucky. You're retired. You don't have to worry about your job. You don't have a business. And I can see that too. But when it comes to our kids, aside from council and, looking into the Lake County School Board issues that we're having, when it comes to kids, I'm very disappointed in some of the parents, because I know, I'd be willing to put my job on the line if I was going to protect my kid or somebody else's from sexual abuse or indoctrination and all that's going on in our schools. PS, by the way. So it sickens me almost to a point.
Now, you said indoctrination. That brings up my next question. Do you see the liberals not only indoctrinating our children, but they're willingly give up their freedoms while they do it? How do we curb that? Because they're joining school boards, they're becoming people of power, they're principals, they're teachers, and then they're, tenured, but I heard that's going away, which is good. The teachers will be retention based on performance, which is fantastic. But how do we stop this indoctrination? And again, you're right. People are fearful of losing their jobs and their businesses. But if they lose their freedoms, they're going to lose their jobs and businesses anyway. But
Hmm.
how do we protect our children? That's the biggest question.
Well, there's really two ways that I see it. The first way is obviously, again, personally vet or keep up with me and I vet. I'll be vetting this next go around of the next three that Lake County School Board members that are up. Their terms are up, and
Hmm.
make sure that they are truly conservative. They're the ones that pass the curriculum. They're the ones that ultimately, fire somebody that's having issues, fire a teacher. So that's one way is you can, get involved in who's running, vet them yourselves, or again, find out through somebody else like myself or anybody else that can vet them. Um, and maybe even advocate if you can't be on a school board, maybe advocate for somebody that's a true conservative to get on the school board and help back that person via campaigning, whether it's through monetary ways or just going out making phone calls and going knocking on doors. So you can help by ensuring that we get conservatives on the board itself. That's the first way. But again, just to add to that, as far as teachers being hired and stuff, that's just academia. That's going to be mostly liberals anyway. So I don't feel that we can maybe control what teachers are getting hired per se, because it's just so rampant in academia. They're all liberals, but it can start mostly with the school board and making sure that you're getting people to run that are true conservatives, and you do have some control over that, and make sure you're getting your ass to the school board meetings and voicing your opinion and putting the heat on the ones that are still in there for another 3 years.
Right.
Secondly, obviously it starts at home. If you have millennials that have kids, those kids are already screwed. So it starts at home. If you're a conservative parent, you need to instill in your children from a very young age, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate because these kids just need to be kids and play and do their thing. But it
Right.
is unfortunate that from a very young age that we need to instill values and discuss with our kids political stuff. I know it sucks and it's like, ugh. When I was 10, I was still playing with Barbie dolls, So now 10-year-olds are like on TikTok shaking their asses now. It's just such a different world that we
That's
live in. But
horrible. At 10 years old, I
yeah,
was out riding my bicycle to the store. Like, forget
right.
about it. And climbing trees and swimming and skipping rocks across the pond.
Hmm.
Now these
But you need
kids,
to, yeah, they're just, it's horrible. But like you just need to talk to your kids um about political values and just instill good conservative values in them, and then it's almost like gearing them up so when they do go to school, and it's kind of like a spiritual warfare in a sense, but it's like a political warfare, if you will. And you
mhm,
just have arm them with knowledge when they go to school to just don't pay attention to that stuff. If a teacher's telling them that, obviously tell them, tell you, the parent, but just to that just to unfortunately expect that stuff, but block that out and, just try to pay attention to the math or the English that they're teaching.
mhm.
Um, but also to, if they see something, say something, and obviously not to, principals because they're just as liberal, but come back and tell you, the parent. They just need to be aware. If they're not aware, they're walking into just a
A lion's
bombing
den.
zone,
Yeah.
and they don't know what to do with it. And like my kids are aware of the whole, I call them the alphabet kid stuff they got going on at the schools with this whole Title IX bullshit. Like, if you hear a teacher talking about transgenderism and pushing that, come tell me. Like, you just need to arm your kids with knowledge about all this. I know it's a lot on top of just just being a kid and dealing with being harassed at school, just the general stuff of growing up, being a teenager or even younger, but arm them with that. So that's like the only two things that I can think of that would something that you could actually do. But as far as hiring the teachers, unfortunately, it's out of our hands.
That's ridiculous.
Um,
because
And
these
the teachers
kids,
union protects them anyways. So they literally would have to commit a crime against a child, literally a crime, before you could oust a teacher. Other than that, they're constantly protected by the teachers union.
that's horrible because you just brought up the alphabet kids, and I call that whole movement alphabet soup because they're always adding letters and whatnot. So who knows what to call them now. But even with that, we have a governor here in Florida that said, boys can't use the girls' sports and bathrooms and all that. So we get that out the way. But the locker rooms, I mean, the school board, they're considering allowing open locker rooms. And you read this stuff and you're like, wait a minute. So a 12-year-old little boy is in a locker room with a bunch of little girls. That's a recipe for disaster.
Well, actually, it's already happening under the Title IX Education Act of 1972. It says you can't discriminate against, the child for its gender, race, sex, religion. And actually, I don't know if you or your listeners know this, but, back in the day when Biden was still doing nothing for us, he is the one that actually expounded on the word sex in Title IX Education Act of 1972 to mean what you identify with as your sex.
The
so
preferred pronoun crap came from Joe Biden.
That came from Joe Biden. That is fact. I've looked that up. It's been validated. It was him that expounded on the word sex to mean gender identity. So it's because of him that currently, this is current. They're not contemplating it. It is current why they are allowing it under Title IX, and then to make teachers feel okay with it, they after I actually blew it up, that's going on in Lake County schools, because I actually received an inter-office document called LGBTQ plus guidelines that was only being distributed, within the school, and the parents didn't know about it. And when I got that anonymously emailed to me, I verified it, made sure it was right and correct, called the school, and they said, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm glad this, parents knew about this. And when I put them on blast, I would say within the 2 days after, the Lake County schools passed out another piece of paper to the staff and teachers talking about the Equality Act. So what they're doing is they're trying to justify the Title IX by allowing boys in your girls' bathrooms and locker rooms, by saying it's the Equality Act, so you have to uphold it. When in reality, they're just hiding behind a case. And I'm trying to remember, I think it was Adams, not Adams, which was a girl, but pretending to be a boy, v. St. John's School District. And what it was, I don't know if you remember this, back in 2018, she was upset that she wasn't allowed in the bathrooms. It was just a bathroom thing, mind you. So I'm going to get to that in a second, because it's really kind of shitty what our school here in Lake County is doing. But it was just about the bathroom. She was having a problem. She wanted to go into the boys' bathroom. And so she sued. She won. And the judge, obviously liberal, said that her rights were violated under Title IX, didn't mention the 14th Amendment, I believe, in that particular case. But then the St. John's School District immediately appealed, and it went through, I believe it was August, but it went through 2020. And they lost the appeal. So it was upheld by a judge out of Jacksonville, also obviously very liberal, had to have been. And he said it was under the 14th Amendment and Title IX that her rights were violated. But when you read the dissension of the judge, which is basically just his kind of his notes and his little narrative of why he ruled the way he did. If you read his dissent, it speaks about just the bathroom. I mean, he made a little note in there that said this was just about the bathroom. They did not, whatever, did not bring up, nor did they rule on locker rooms. So this was just for the bathroom. So why is Lake County Schools and their LGBTQ plus guidelines, again, dispersed only amongst the staff and teachers, not the parents. Parents didn't know about this, was going on since 2020 of July. Why then are they also implementing the locker rooms? So I brought that up to the school, and their communications director was going back and forth with me. And after she spoke to their wonderful, idiotic, and I don't mean wonderful in a good way, kind of sarcasm there, idiotic attorney. I forget her name. It's a girl. And she was saying that because of this ruling, it's not law. It is just case law. Yes, it's case law. So they said this little alphabet girl set a precedent with this ruling, but it's not a law. It's just case law. It was just a case ruling. And she said because it was in the 11th Circuit, which is our county circuit of courts,
Right.
that we must abide by it. We must abide by this stupid case ruling. And I told the communications director, that's absurd. I know a little bit about law. I never claimed to be an attorney, but I have done a couple of pro se cases. And I'm like, that is just case law. That is just going to help in moving forward. If somebody else has the same kind of issue and wants to file suit, they can use that case law to help justify their argument.
Mm-hmm.
That's all case law is. It's not a law. But this attorney is dumb, spineless, and is afraid of, I would say, 0.0001% of alphabet kids suing the school or the county. So they're hiding under this case law to protect them from, doing this Title IX bullshit by allowing locker rooms and bathrooms to be infiltrated by the wrong gender.
Now, let me ask this. Think about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they're padding it along the way. They're putting people in leadership. They're getting them to run and win. That's why they're keeping it as an internal email or an internal situation, because if this stuff gets out, then normal parents will be suing. Like, no, I don't want my child in a locker room with the opposite sex. First of all, why would a girl want to be in the boys' bathroom? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then you get half the football team in high school going into the girls' locker room. That is a recipe for disaster. But then
this has been going on since July of 2020 right here in Lake County schools.
It's already happening.
It's already happening. It was put in place July of 2020, and we didn't know about it. I just dropped that bomb and let that out to the public, like 2 months ago? So I said, you might want to, pay attention to the normal people suing you. But they went ahead and added the locker rooms for no reason. And I asked about that, and the attorney told the communications director, well, we're adding the locker rooms because, again, Title IX, and I'm just like, that's bullshit. I talked to Sabatini, and he told me all the Lake County School Board needs to do is enact a resolution of like an ordinance of some sort to say, no, we will not allow this. And that's all they need to do. And that becomes their rules. And if somebody wants to sue, oh, well, let them sue. They've got this ordinance that says, no, we do not abide by that. It's just, again, she's the attorney for the schools. She's using their disgusting progressive movement and hiding behind Title IX and this stupid piece of case law from St. Johns County.
People don't realize this is it. Lake County is it. We lose. Okay, let's get into something real quick. All right. Do people realize if the liberals take over, Florida will be the next California? Do you see that happening?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're very similar to California as far as, everybody wants to live here. We've got a Disney here. A lot of the stars live in South Beach. So absolutely. I mean, we're just on the opposite coast, but yeah, we're very similar to California. Unfortunately, we've got the California idiots moving here too. We would definitely become a California super quick. And we're so close to Disney and all that. Lake County is an important piece to the puzzle, I believe, in turning Florida for
Well,
sure.
because we're in that I-4 corridor, this is a large part of that turn. And people, you're right, people are sitting on their hands, conservatives sitting on their hands going, I'll let somebody else handle that. Oh, I'll let somebody else handle that. And there's nobody else handling it. And I encourage people.
Just me.
Well, yeah, exactly. For here, yeah. I mean,
for here, yeah.
I encourage people, folks, get on your phone, do a podcast, do a YouTube video, express your dislike for what's going on, because they don't think anything's wrong because no one's saying anything.
And if you do, you're an asshole, but I don't care because I call myself an asshole. So I don't.
That's fine. But
I mean, our mayor is causing divisiveness. Like you said, you've never met the guy. I call him Cletus for my own reasons. His name is Tim, but I call him Cletus. He's causing divisiveness through the council because just what he has done thus far since he's been in council. I don't even think he was on council for more than 3 months when he pulled the race card, accusing our own police department of being racist because he said he only gets pulled over because he's black. Caused a big uproar. I mean, that got crazy during that council meeting. Only one council member chose to stand up.
And now for people that are listening that don't know, the chief of police in this town is black.
I know, right? Yep.
Just so you know. So the black mayor is telling the black police chief he's getting pulled over because he's black.
Absolutely. I mean, that's all on live stream. You can go back on the archive on my page and you can watch that whole live stream go down where he says it. So I'm not making up you can't make this shit up, but that's what you get when you put in a Democratic mayor. And then when that kind of cooled off, because like I said, we only had one council member that had the balls to stand up and try to get him, censured, but no one would do it because, again, scared of BLM, scared of uprising, scared of media attention. So that just kind of died pretty quickly. And then just last week we had a council meeting and I went up and spoke and gave my 2 cents. But again, I'm an asshole and I'll say it. He made it World Diversity Day. He proclaimed May 21st World Diversity Day. The proclamation was read into the record, and within the proclamation, it just talked about whatever gender you are or identify with, the color of your skin, if you're black or brown, that you're going to be safe in this city. And I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with diversity? Like, I'm thinking, I'm just like old school. I'm thinking diversity, like, the brown people that are Mexican, they have Mexican food. I'm Italian, I eat Italian food. That kind of diversity, right?
Kind of like a potluck dinner. Like a potluck dinner.
I'm thinking diversity, like culture, like, their culture, like, the Indians have the Indian headdress and the Mexicans have the colorful skirts and they do the dances. And that's when I think of Diversity Day or I think of culture. I don't think of, if you're, whatever gender you relate to and if you're black or brown. And I'm just rolling my eyes and I go up there and I just comment and I just told them, look, I said, this is your baby, Mayor. It is. I said, this is like, this should be World Division Day, because what I heard on proclamation was like totally divisive. Like, I didn't realize we lived in an unsafe city and you had to worry because you were identifying as different gender. Like, are you kidding me? He is using his position as mayor to push his progressive stupid agenda, and he hasn't stopped, and I'm like, what's next? What are we going to do next there, Cletus? What are we going to do next?
But you see, Dani, that's why it's important for people like you to come out of the woodwork and say enough's enough, because we're getting hammered. I mean, look what we're fighting. They took our president. They're after our governor. The news, forget about it. They don't tell the truth about anything. And talking about schools, I want to move on to one more question for you. Why are the schools giving this vaccine to as young as 12 and not the pediatricians. Because I spoke to my child's doctor and they said, no, 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 I don't recommend that vaccine for any children. Why are the schools doing it?
Well, they're teaming up with the Lake County Health Department, and obviously the people from there are doing it, but they are utilizing the schools because it's like, how do I liken this to? If you want candy, you're going to go straight to the candy factory, right? So they want our kids jabbed, which I have my thoughts on that. I think that at some point these kids will be infertile, depopulation, but that's just my take on it. But where else? I mean, where else you're going to go to get your victims? You know, like I said, you want candy, you go to the candy factory. You want
just
kids,
said it. Where do
you
they
go
go
to
to
you
get their
go and you team up
victims?
with the schools and you get your kids because hey, they're going to school, they're right there. I mean, they're you know, it's ripe for the taking. And you got these dumbass Democrats, and they're Democrats that will line their kids up to go get a job. I mean, my son is only 11. He his friend who is 12, you know, some kids are 12 in the 5th grade, I guess, I don't know. He said his friend just got it. This was 2 days ago. He came home. He said, "Oh my gosh, my friend just got it," and his arm swelled up, and he was hacking and coughing in school. And his friend said, "I feel like I'm dying." I mean, he told this to my son. This kid's only 12. I'm like, you know, what the hell? What is wrong with these
Parents.
parents to
It's the
begin with?
parents.
But to for our schools to team up and make it sound like it's just awesome venture between the two of them, it's like it's sick. It's sick. It's like they're handing over, you know, the kids to this bullshit. And
Yeah.
it just made me sick when I realized. Well, it made me sick back for the 16-year-olds when they first started doing the 16-year-olds. They had them at the, I believe they were doing them at the high school for the
Yeah.
16-year-olds. They were utilizing the high school, but you
Now
know
it's
what
middle
better place
school.
but where
Now,
the kids are at.
right. But now look at this. I'm looking at it right here. Pfizer and Moderna have filed with the CDC. I mean, not the CDC, Food and Drug Administration, for an emergency declaration to vaccinate children as young as 2 years old. This is ridiculous. Any parent that is that much of a sheep that they're going to put this poison in their children. And it's funny you said that the Lake County School Board teamed up with the health department, because who controls the religious exemption from vaccination? The health department. Remember, Florida is a forced vaccination state still. So the health department can just overrule that. They have the file. They know who's exempt, and they could just say, don't worry about it. We're doing it.
My kids are on that list.
Yeah, but that
The
is just
exemption
a
list.
piece of paper. Imagine.
And I will tell you, when I went to get that exemption paper,
Oh, they fight you.
well, they were okay, but it was just kind of funny. This was before, I want to say this was before the whole Rona thing, to be honest with you, when I went down there. It was before Rona hit. I went down there and I got the form signed. And by the way, it's incredibly expensive because it used to be free, I believe, but it's $30 a kid to get an exemption. So I had to pay $60 that day. But you're going to find this real interesting. It's like they knew, just local Podunk Lake County knew about the Rona before it hit. They told me, okay, just wanted to let you know that this is fine. You know, they don't have to get any more shots. But just know that if there's ever a pandemic, that they will have to get, that this will not work. They will not be exempt. And I just thought that was really weird, thinking back on it after Rona hit. I was like, just weird that she would have mentioned that to me, like a pandemic. Like I was just thinking to myself, what pandemic, you know? And
just like the
so
school.
I thought that was interesting.
Just like the school has the internal system that they're floating around the alphabet soup letters, the government did that with the health departments. You can bet on that, because she used the exact word, if there's a pandemic. This is null and void and exempt. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that they'll have to get it anyway, which goes back to what you were saying about you know, the law here in Florida, where they can mandate it, and DeSantis needs to delete that ASAP, get that off there, because
Yeah,
Yeah, like you said, if that's, I mean, they could do it as soon as the next school year. I mean, the next, in 3 months when school starts back up again. So I'm going to be interested to see if he does do something with that before the next school
I
year.
hope he does. And, our mutual friend, Anthony Sabatini, who's also an attorney, he said he's drafting something to put
Yeah.
in place. So we'll have to wait and see what that is. But more than that, people don't realize, as far as Florida is concerned, we're it. Georgia and Florida and Texas were kind of the three strongholds. Well, they done snatched Georgia. So all
Yeah.
that's left is Florida and Texas. Texas is getting infiltrated from the border. Florida is a peninsula. We're pretty protected around by the water, but we are still getting infiltrated from the top. But Lake County itself, you go to the store here. I don't even own a mask, Danny. You go to the
Oh,
store here,
I don't wear a mask anywhere.
people leave you alone.
Yeah.
We're freedom. But here's what we don't need. We don't need liberals coming in going, oh, look, they're free. Let's go mess that up. Because that's what I'm seeing. You mentioned the California plates. I've seen probably 20 California plates this week. And I said, the invasion is happening. And they're all masked up, riding around in the car by themselves. They brought their liberal ideas here. And that's a problem. Because remember, this voting system, the prisoners get their rights back. That's 1.2 million. We're getting infiltrated with liberals. All this is part of a master plan that was put in place. And it's happening. Real estate is through the roof. And what's going to happen when people start, after the vote, after the governor vote, and they all leave, it's going to implode our real estate market. And that's what's going to happen. They're coming here to flip the vote, and then they're going to leave.
I just read an article just today that the influx from New Yorkers is at an all-time high for the state of Florida. Like, we've never seen an influx like this before, and mostly it's people coming in from New York.
New York.
So if you've got New York sprinkled with some California, we're screwed in a big way. Screwed.
Well, that was a Bloomberg idea. That's where his 100 million went.
Yeah.
That was a plan very long time ago. But here's the thing. With New York, yes, you'll have some conservatives, right? But remember, from New York, we get 1,000 people moving here a day. And you could look that up. 1,000 people move to Florida every day since March. Okay? That's a lot
And the
of people.
majority are New York, according to this article.
Liberals. Majority of liberals. So Ron DeSantis.
Oh, yeah, liberals.
Ron DeSantis won Florida by less than 50,000 votes. Okay. They are flooding here. So let's say out of 1,000 a day, 20% are liberals. I'm just throwing a horrible number out there. If 1,000 a day is coming, 20% are liberals, it's 800 people a day. I mean, in a month, forget it, Ron's done. Just off that. Forget the prisoners getting their voting rights back. Ron DeSantis tried to fight that tooth and nail. So why would they vote for him? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They would say, wait a minute.
I would think that because it's so close to the new, to the election or whatever for him, you would think that I think they did something like this in Georgia, didn't they? Where they're like, you have to be a resident for so long before you can vote this go round.
They're all coming now. The vote isn't until next year.
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't he make it to where you have to be a resident for at least 2 years or something? Just,
that one would be tough because the second you get your license, you're a resident. For certain
didn't
things.
Georgia do something? It's for that effect.
I'm not sure. It didn't work anyway.
About that.
Even if they did, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just to say, I don't even know if he could do that without looking like, oh, he's an asshole. You know what? He's doing that. But hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I wouldn't look at him
I think it'd be fine. You have to be a resident because people come here for a year. maybe on business or just shit. Some people come here to vacation that long, especially if you're old and retired. I would say a 2 year, you have to be here 2 years anyways. Screw it.
In order to vote.
To vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then for sure they're a resident.
Well,
I mean, there might be little things that you could put in place like that. But then again, I don't know. That'd probably be a Sabatini question.
Sure. Yeah, we definitely got to get him on the show because I got a lot of questions. I want to know how people are able to just move here, get an ID, vote, and our vote is protected by volunteers. Does that make any sense to you? Our voting system, our tallies, our machines are protected by volunteers. That's why we're in this mess. I laughed
at this last election. I was just like, and I don't mean any disrespect because I'm an old person too. I mean, I'm retired. I mean, I'll be 51. I'm older, but you got these older people. Here's the thing. I had a friend that was in sales, and they were like, "You do not know how dumb people really are." And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, okay, take the stupidest person and times that by like 100. And that's how dumb people are. So you got these people that are, older, they're not really in the know or kind of slower, or they weren't really smart to begin with. They're not really qualified. What do they do? Like talk to them and train them in a weekend or something? Like, really? Yeah. I mean, not to be a total asshole, but like, really? Could we just get maybe some people doing this that are a bit knowledgeable? Number one. Number two, maybe have some sort of like security background to some. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, because it's almost like I could pass this over to my 10-year-old and go, hey, count these ballots.
Exactly.
Protect this suitcase over here.
Oh, don't push that button. Yeah, don't push that button.
Some people, because some people, again, I'll just give the analogy of the sales guy. He just like take the stupidest person and times that by 100, and that's your general population. I mean, if we have to, like that goes back to that lady with the McDonald's coffee getting spilled in her lap and suing. It was hot. You didn't tell me it was scalding hot.
Yeah, it wasn't printed on the cup.
Right. Now, these are the people that run the show for your president or your governor or whatever. I mean, even right down to the piddly ass council members. These are the people, I made a joke when Cletus won. I'm like, hey, did we use Dominion?
Yeah. But you know what? I think they count on that because they know they can control that narrative. If we take away their power as far as their control, why do you think Pelosi's flooding the country with illegals? Because Americans don't vote for Democrats anymore. And they know it.
And she probably needs more maids.
Well, this woman, and it's funny because she lives in a guard-gated community. So, but she doesn't want a wall on the border. That doesn't make any sense.
Hypocrites.
No, they're ridiculous. But tell us what you're currently fighting against here in Lake County today. What do you got on your plate?
Well, it was weird because there I was minding my own business, still, dealing with council and council's bullshit. And of course, developers that come into this town that are shady. Mm-hmm. And then this bomb Lake County school, that guidelines in her office form got dropped in my lap. And so my attention has been diverted, albeit like maybe temporarily. I don't know at this point. I might expand on what I do and stick with school stuff as well as council. But my focus has mainly been the Lake County School Board. We've had some allegations that have now gone to law enforcement, and now the report was written. It was a sexual allegation about a football coach at the East Ridge High School. So that's sitting at this state attorney's office right now. I don't know if they're going to pursue charges or what's going on with that, but there was several other sexual allegations made against him by juveniles. So that's my main focus right now. Although I do, and I say not like I'm running, but I do have an election coming up to deal with. It's what I call an off-season election. Obviously, it's not the president, where you vote for the president. Mm-hmm. So it's an off-season election coming up. We've got seat 2 and seat 4 on council that are going to be up for reelection, and they'll be running starting in June. So I have to start vetting whoever's going to run. I have to get with the city clerk and, get names and start vetting the people that are going to be running for council. So right now, my main focus is the schools and the allegations of critical race theory being implemented or pushed, and then the allegations against that coach. Then, of course, like I just said, dealing with vetting council, people that are going to be running for council. So that's what's on my plate right now. And then in the background, on the back burners, are some things going on with some developers that are pretty interesting. So I'm always busy. I call this what I do for a living for free, because I don't have any. I don't get paid. I don't have sponsors. This is I guess you can say a hobby, which could I guess it's either you love me or you hate me, and I'm sure I have a lot of haters out there, but equally, probably even more, I have people that appreciate what I do.
Well, you're fighting for the freedom of our children as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people realize how important that is. We want our kids to freely go to school, freely play a sport. God forbid you have a daughter that goes on the field and there's a 6'8", 300-pound boy that they're about to play, field hockey with. Yeah, that's outrageous. Somebody's going to get hurt severely. And then the school will say, we're indemnified, that we have no part of that.
Oh, they're just going to hide again behind the Title IX and then bring up that case law and just, yeah.
No.
But I do want to point out with that whole the LGBTQ plus, or like I like to call the alphabet kids situation, I do want to point out, and again, if our Lake County School Board attorney wants to hide behind case law and call it law, let's play, because recently it was in March of 2021. We're not talking August of 2020 like Alphabet Girls, March of 2021. It was Meriwether v. Hartop. It was out of, if my memory serves me correctly, Ohio. You can look up the case, but
so 2 months ago, basically.
Excuse me?
2 months ago.
Just 2 months ago, a very, very recent ruling where a professor at a university sued because of this whole Title IX bullshit, where he was forced. And I do want to say that the Lake County schools here, they do reprimand the teachers, that the teachers don't play along with the pronouns, calling these kids he, she's when they're not, or calling them Bob when their name is Stacy. They get in trouble. They get reprimanded. True fact, because I have insiders that are teachers. Also, P.S. on that note, and I hate to get all over the place here, on that note, they're also not allowed to tell the parents. They are not. I'm not kidding. So if you could have JoJo go to school, and who's a dude, and he parades around the school like a girl, wants to be called Stacy or a she, and the teachers have to do it, have to abide by that, and they can never tell the parent, hey, I just want to call and let you know, Joe, he thinks he's Stacy. Just thought maybe you'd want to know about it. They're not allowed to do that.
So they're replacing the parent.
Exactly. And so with that being said, let me bounce back. I hate to go all over the place and confuse people. Back to Meriwether versus Hartop. The professor sued based on the fact that he felt like he didn't need to call a he that was in his class a she, because that violated his First Amendment, constitutional amendment for freedom of religion. It was against his religion to play along with gender dysphoria. So he sued on behalf of his First Amendment, and he won.
Fantastic.
So he didn't have to. Nobody has to, according to that case. If we're going to play case law as law, has to say, call somebody a he, a she, and vice versa. So if we want to play this game, let's play. And so I've told teachers, and I put it out there, print out this case, even print out the dissent of the judge, everything. And then when they reprimand you and call you down to the office, throw that printout in their face and go, suck it. I'm not doing it.
Right.
Let's play, because I guarantee you there's more Merriweathers out there than there are alphabet kids to sue. So they might want to start thinking about that.
And that's why we need more people like you, Dani, to get the truth out, because a lot of people feel handcuffed. They feel, oh, gotta send the kid to school with a mask. Oh, next year it'll be, you gotta be vaccinated to come to the school. This is getting out of hand, and people have nowhere to turn for answers.
Well, they need to make, I mean, the first thing they need to do is help them, you know, like, help me, help you, basically, is what the message I want to say is, help me, help you. Get off your ass. And actually, I do mean to be a bitch about it. Get off your asses, go down to the school board. I mean, we saw it happen in Arizona. An entire mob of parents, mostly moms, of course, went to the school board and raised some hell and removed them all. They all quit, and then they all assigned new new school board members to that Arizona school board. So it can be done. Like, you know, you've seen probably a meme or two of one person stands up and then the rest will follow. Because again, people are sheep, right? So
Right.
we're strong in numbers. So if we all go down there, raise some hell, we can get that ordinance into place that Sabatini was talking about, that Lake County School Board needs to put in place to say, no, hell no, we're not abiding by Title IX. Kiss our ass. We're going to protect our kids. We don't need boys and girls locker rooms.
No,
And if you just go and you stand up, they can enact something like that, because you're going to force them to. You're going to hold their feet to the fire, and you're going to force them to. But you can't just depend on me. I mean, I went up at the Lake County School Board a couple weeks ago and ousted publicly. I mean, they knew about it because I emailed them, and I sent the law over there, by the way, PS, to the school board themselves.
Good for you.
You know, and for Lake County School Board, I mean, those live stream views only get about up to 180. And last time I checked, it was like 2.8, like 2,800 views, because I went up there and served their ass to them about the coach up at the high school. So that was just one person. I did that. So could you imagine if there was 30 more behind me bitching about something that needs to be changed? I mean, bottom line, folks, is you have to do something. And I'm also talking to the teachers. I've put the whistleblower law on my Facebook page. I've talked to the insider teachers that I know about the Whistleblower Act that protects them. They have to know that law protects them, because, again, these teachers are also being spineless because they don't want to lose their jobs. And I get it, but these are children. Part of your job or your oath as a teacher should be, first and foremost, to protect these kids. You have to say something, and you just have to take a leap of faith and know that whistleblower act here in Florida protects you if there's something, you know, funky going on. And so I need the teachers to stand up, and I need these parents to stand up, because if they don't, we're all just going to fall, and we're already falling. So
it's already happening, right? It's already happening.
Yeah.
Now, people that may want to run for school board, hopefully someone's listening to this right now going, I had no clue all this was occurring. How do I get more involved? Where can they go to learn how to run for council, run for school board, and put these rhinos and these liberals out? Where can they go?
Well, I know this next election with the council for seats 2 and seats 4, you would contact the city clerk, Tracy Ackroyd. And I believe just next month they're going to be starting that, where you pick up a packet and you have to get signatures, and the packet explains everything that you need to do. And I believe they only give you a week to do all this. You need to establish a treasurer, and you need to open up a bank account and all that stuff. And I think you only get a week to do all that. So that would be your go-to there is the city clerk for the council. Now, if you want to run for school board, since I'm just now getting the whole school board shit show, I don't know when they would start. I know the three Lake County School Board members who are Bill, I call him Bill Grody because he's gross.
Oh my
Bill Grody
goodness.
Matthias, his term will be up. Stephanie Luke and Mark Dodd's term. All three of those, their terms will be up November 22nd of 2022. So you have plenty of time to advocate for somebody you know or yourself or get your shit together, to run. But I would assume with the Lake County School Board, you would contact Lake County Schools, maybe go through Sherry Owens. She's the communications director, and she could direct you, where you would need to go if there is a packet involved there. Like I said, I'm just now getting involved in their shenanigans over there, so I'm not quite sure how their process works. But you could start by calling Sherry Owens at the Lake County Schools and ask, is there a packet I need to pick up? But again, that they're not up until November 22nd of 22. So you wouldn't start, campaign until next summer.
Understood. All right, Dani, we have covered a lot of things here today. And more than anything, where can the listeners find you for more information?
All my live streams for the council meetings and also my podcast, my live podcasts are on Inside Clermont on Facebook. It's just at Inside Clermont, no space. And that's where you can find that. And now I do, again, like I said, since I just started getting into the shit show that is the Lake County School Board, I do sprinkle my timeline with some information about Lake County schools. However, my more controversial type podcast are done on SoundCloud, where you can find me at Inside Clermont, no space there either, on SoundCloud. And those are all my podcasts that are controversial regarding the school board. And I am probably going to start branching out and doing some other things on that SoundCloud account at Inside Clermont. And probably maybe even change the name at some point to just Dani or something, because I kind of want to expand on what I do and not just focus on city council.
Right.
But for right now, you can find me on SoundCloud at Inside Clermont.
Fantastic. So Facebook at Inside Clermont and SoundCloud at Inside Clermont. And we're going to get you on some bigger channels as well, because you have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and you're helping a lot of people, especially the kids. So we're going to do our best to help you get your word out there, Dani. Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate
fantastic.
it, because like Whitney Houston said, the children are our future.
You know what? I haven't heard her name in forever. So
I know, right?
Yeah, we got to be about the same age, which is funny, because when I went to school, none of this could happen. None of it. Where I went and when I went, no. You just didn't, you didn't do this. If you did it, you kept it in the closet, kind of thing for the people that were that way. This is a whole different generation. It is a godless generation, and we see it. They took church and, kids don't go to church for the most, I'm not going to say that. A lot of children don't go to church like they used to. I'm not going to say all. And they took God out of schools. You can't pray. You can't, do all kinds of stuff. My son, he's grown now. I remember when he was in third grade, he wore a T-shirt, had a cross on it, and it said Christ for Life. He called me from school, and he said, Dad, can you bring me another T-shirt? I said, why? He said, principal won't let me wear this. I said, they took you out of class to call me to change your shirt? He said, yeah. I said, I'll be right there. Now, this is a school system that I went through up north. Same teachers were there, unfortunately. I walked in, the principal looked at me, looked at my son, and said, you can go back to class. I had the same exact T-shirt on.
But yet they can wear, I just got vaccinated T-shirt. Or they can wear the rainbow, and the rainbows on their shirts. And,
well, no, you got the religious aspect of it. Yeah, the rainbow thing, headdress for different religions, but you can't be Christian in school.
No.
And so when I walked in and I had the same shirt on, the principal knew, like, oh, this is a dead end. Just go back to class. And that was the end of it.
But you are intimidating.
Well,
you're a big guy. You're intimidating.
And you know what? We need more parents to stand behind their kids like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
they see me coming and they just
they
they
know.
know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They all know my name up when I walk into school. They know my name.
Well, that's good because they know you're there to fight for your child.
Yeah.
And that's what
They're
needs to
not
be
going to
done.
get away with anything anymore. Like that the council thought that I had him. That if anyone from Lake County schools are listening, yeah, I'm your worst nightmare. So you ask anyone about council, like I'll put you on blast and don't So
But you know what, Dani?
my eyes are watching y'all.
But you know what? At the beginning of this episode, I said there was a council member that was scared of BLM and Antifa and any other domestic terrorist organizations. They need to be watchful of you as well because you're going to oust them for their dirty deeds. I have a feeling a lot of politicians checks have cashed from the lobbyists because you can't take someone that's a good person that makes 40, 50,000 a year in their regular job. Now they're driving a Benz with a boat in the garage. They got a brand new house, but they didn't get a raise. That tells me something. Somebody's check cleared under the table. So Dani,
and that happens even in small towns.
Exactly. Exactly. But they need to know there's people like you on the prowl looking for that stuff.
And I look at campaign treasury reports, PS, by the way.
There you go. They need to know. They need to know.
Yeah, 4 people so far that have gotten fined for not following the rules.
Good for you. Keep doing it, Dani. God bless. Have a great night, and we will absolutely have you on again. So is there anything you want to say to the masses before you leave?
Just do something. Get off your asses. Do something because it's going to keep on. Quit bitching and do some lifting.
Just get it done. All right, Dani, great to have you on.
Okay, thank you.
Final thought here, folks. Imagine if we all did exactly what God instructed. As we see in Proverbs chapter 31, verses 8 through 9, it reads, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Yes, speak up for the poor and helpless, and see that they get justice." Keep fighting, Dani. You were built for this. Thank you for listening. If you're ready to make the decision and give your life to Christ today, stay tuned for the prayer of salvation. For more information, please visit our website at www.road.fm. Again, that's ROAD.fm. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platforms, and we ask that you share it with at least 10 people to spread the word. We are listener supported here, so on our website, please visit the donate page for ways to contribute and our shop page for the latest merchandise. Remember, we love you and Godspeed, everybody. Repeat after me. Jesus, I confess you as my Lord and Savior. Come into my heart and forgive me for all my sins. Cleanse me with your precious blood and write my name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Fill me with the Holy Spirit and lead me on the road to salvation. I pray this prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.